I'm not entirely sure where our conservation agent is tonight, but hopefully she's okay.
If she sent an email or anything.
Everybody read the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
All
Very
right.
good job.
She
I
did.
nominate
Yeah.
her to take over.
Yeah.
I had a feeling you were going to say that, Louise.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And I will go along with that nomination, but we should do it when she's here.
Yes, absolutely.
Who are you gonna nominate?
Maddie did the minutes
Oh.
from the last meeting,
Oh,
and
did a great job.
she did do a great job.
Yeah,
About
she
time
did.
we got a good job done.
Do I have a
She's a good
motion?
friend of mine,
You're lucky she didn't hear that, Walter.
Right? She's within striking distance.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Are there any edits anybody would like to see in the minutes?
You weren't here last time, right, Walter? Okay,
No.
so it was just the four of us.
It was, yeah.
I was looking at that, I'm like, there's only 4 names on here. And I'm like, and then I was like, well, wait a minute, Louise was sick, AJ was in France, and I was like, I don't remember what Walter was doing, but
Yeah.
I don't know where it was. I just forgot. I forgot it.
Yeah.
Just forgot it. An hour before, I said to Gail, "Geez, I gotta make sure you got to go up there. That's where I'm losing it."
we're all losing it, Walter.
Can I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So
From-
moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Any updates?
No, I didn't do it. So I emailed June, but I didn't get any response on getting the end of year stuff. So I got to follow up with her
Okay.
to do
So
that.
she's probably
It's the
still
same
working
as
on it.
last
Yeah.
meeting.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. There weren't any bills and forms. We're like blowing through this meeting here.
Bills and
Check,
forms,
check,
check.
check, check, check. There wasn't any, there was some.
There was some mail.
Yeah, but so.
We don't open it though, right?
Well, it's addressed to Maddie.
Historical Commission.
Oh, is that who it's from?
Yeah.
Where do you see that? Oh, well that's fast, because I just read the first line. I'm like, it's from the Secretary of State.
Are we expecting anything from MHC?
No?
Okay.
So, we will let Maddie open her mail.
Grants? Was that a grant application?
I don't think so. I don't think we did anything
Okay.
historically
Guess we have to wait for her to open it.
focused. Yeah, right? Yeah, and there really wasn't even much in the way of emails. I'm trying to think if there was anything.
It's summer, everybody's.
I know, everybody's,
I was supposed to go up and check in with our buddies on top of the hill there about the bridge. I did not. I will go tomorrow.
okay. Also see how they're coming on stabilizing the site after my terse email to them.
Oh, you did provide them with an email. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
That was after the meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it was actually after, so Pat had been asking them to hydroseed
Mm-hmm.
at the day of our last meeting. I mentioned it to Alex that we were getting no response. On Friday, I got an email saying that hydroseeding was happening as we spoke. Pat went over there about 4:30, and they had hydroseeded the lawns of the houses that were built. They did nothing to stabilize the site, which, I mean, yay for you. You put grass in front of the houses. We don't
That
care.
doesn't
That's
do
not what we're
anything.
looking for.
Right.
So.
Me and Walter are gonna go up there.
Yeah.
Good, because I sent a terse email saying,
We're
look,
gonna go up there.
Tomorrow.
did you see it? I thought I copied everybody
I don't
on
think I have
it.
anything, but.
Whenever time you wanna go.
Now that you say that, I
It's
didn't
the
go
hottest
back
day
and
of the
look at
week. I
emails
took it
that were
off.
sent.
All right.
Right.
Oh, I am, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't get back to emails that might have been sent a week or two ago.
Quote. It's a
So
good
anyway,
quoting day.
then Pat went back and they were putting straw wattles in and cleaning the streets, so. But that would be great if you guys can go up there,
Yeah.
kick some butt.
Oh, yeah, you sent it on July 8th.
Yeah,
That one?
probably.
Did you,
Okay.
by the way, go up
Yes.
to
Yeah.
Allen Road and look at Mike Sawyer's?
I did.
Yeah, I looked at it.
Yep,
too.
Maddie and I went.
Yeah, it looked good,
Yeah, yeah, he did a nice job.
as usual.
As usual, exactly.
As he says, you wanna come? I said, Mike, did you put it in? I said, yeah. I said, look, it's okay. No, come on up, come on
Yeah.
up. Anyway, so I went up.
Yeah, the mosquitoes were vicious. It was, we were chit chatting. I'm like, okay, it looks good. I need to get out of the woods.
Okay, so no bills or forms, right?
No bills or forms.
Mails.
And just the
Oh, yeah,
email
look at that.
from Highland Ridge.
Yeah, so the appointment at 7:30 tonight, there was some email back and forth with them. There's been some email with Krista just about moving forward with Horseshoe Pond. And other than that,
So, on the
been quiet.
Maplewood Farm,
yes.
I mean, I've looked at that a couple times, it looks great. So, as far as the enforcement order, I forget the steps we gotta do to shut
Right.
that out.
Well, the main reason we're leaving it open is so that we can have access to the
Oh,
property.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So periodic checks
idea.
from you
Right.
is a great thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think they did a good job stabilizing the site. But while they're still importing
Yeah.
soil, I want to keep it open.
Okay.
So, and then Pat's most recent monitoring report just showed that they were actually starting to follow up with some of the things we were asking. So, that's that. But yeah, if you guys can go up, we're still waiting for the trail easement on that little piece
Yes, by the stone wall.
by the stone wall, so I don't know if you want to talk. Is it Brian who's on site?
And I think it's Brian. Red pickup truck sits in the trailer. I know. I
All
know where
right.
I'm going.
All right. But yeah, if you guys can see how that's coming along too. Holly had a meeting for the Farm Bureau tonight, so she could not make it.
I actually saw her at the gym this morning. Yeah, she mentioned that.
What was the? In the end, the bridges had nothing to do with the horses, right? That was the end of the. It's just that the planks going slopped on the water didn't work.
Correct.
But the horses don't need a special bridge. They just go on the left or the right of the bridge.
Right.
Okay. That
Yep.
was,
Yeah, but yes, a proper bridge.
yeah. Some effort.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can do.
Where was this?
At Highland Ridge.
Highland Ridge down in the bottom back wetlands
Oh.
near
okay.
Duncan's loop.
Right. We asked them to build a bridge over
Oh,
that
okay.
area.
Yep.
And they laid some boards down in
Who
the
did, Highland
mud.
Ridge?
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the guys.
Somebody commented to me that they were going on to Duncan's land and he had not given the permission. Is that true?
Well,
That
let
is
them-
up to
that's
the
up to
property
them.
owners.
I'm not worried
That
about
has
it.
nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
All right, and we got,
Do we have to wait if it's not a hearing?
no, but let's see if we can,
Okay.
Louise, you said you had something about Earth Day, Fall Earth Day?
Right, I was talking to, well, actually, I talked to him in the past, but I talked with Chief Shatner again recently, and he's all for doing a fall cleanup, the beginning of October. They would provide a police escort for Central Street. Actually, we would do Central Street first of all, because that didn't get done in the spring.
It hasn't gotten done in a while, I
Yeah.
think.
Right.
Yeah.
So dangerous.
And-
This is the cleanup?
Hmm?
What is this for?
A
We're
fall cleanup.
gonna do
A
a
fall
fall
cleanup?
cleanup, yeah.
The beginning of October, either the 1st or the 8th of October. And
So,
he,
but
they,
the grass and everything isn't down enough to really see, is
think
it?
It
We'll be
might
able to
not be enough, well,
We're trying.
It doesn't matter to
Right.
me.
you're right,
Doesn't
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Right. Well, anyway, and they would provide a police escort, you know, in
Right.
the really.
So maybe what, in kind of figuring out what to do, we should
Right.
focus on the streets that weren't done in the spring.
Exactly, or the streets that are the worst, right,
Right, or both,
yeah.
yeah. Um, Excellent.
So, and, the highway department said that they would take part in it, they would pick up trash and everything, so.
Awesome.
Okay, so that sounds good.
Good job.
I emailed AJ and, Lawrence, but I haven't heard, well, he's in Paris or whatever.
He's back now.
Oh, he is?
But I think the Holyoaks have been vacationing quite a bit.
Yeah, I think, yeah. So, I mean, there's time to get in touch with them, but,
Oh. Apparently Maddie's on vacation.
oh,
All right, well. All right. I don't know how her and I missed that connection. All right, just so you know, October 1st might still be early in the year, like Walter was saying.
right,
And I will be flying home from Dallas on October 1st.
okay, so maybe we should go for the 8th.
Right, or even a week later.
Right,
Later the better.
Later the better.
so that would be the 15th.
Yep.
Is this the first fall when we've done?
We did it the first COVID year. We did it in the spring and then we did it again in the fall.
You can clean up 5 times a year if you want, I don't mind,
Right.
but I'm just thinking, clean it up in October or so, then it snows, you can't see anything, then spring comes,
Right.
and there's not much trash thrown out window during the winter time.
I wouldn't guarantee that.
Well, okay.
Right. But if we can hit the major streets that weren't done in the
Oh,
spring.
Right.
Okay.
The thing is that not too many people want to do Central Street,
Right,
right, because it's kind of dangerous.
right.
So if the police are out there with us, you know.
And it didn't really get hit last time, so if there is some apparent trash, it'll be easy to,
Mm-hmm,
I think it's worth a shot.
Right.
And it'll be nice and cool.
yeah.
Yes.
Actually, when we did it in the fall, we got quite a bit of trash. So
Okay.
Yeah.
That was 2 years ago, I think, yeah.
Hmm.
Yep. Cool. All right. Well, if any, do you have anything, sir? Do you have anything?
Nope.
And you?
No.
All right. We will move on. Wayne, we'll take you a few minutes early since it
Thank you very much.
wasn't anything that needed to be notify abutters or anything.
Okay, if you could just give me a few seconds to set this up.
Absolutely.
Usually, these things assault me.
Oh, okay.
so-
Oh, you know what, I'm gonna move over from here.
Yeah, I'll put those. I'll put these back in the mailbox.
I was just telling Kathy on my way here, I drove in from Auburn, driving along 290, and I see this six-wheel dump truck, guys all over the road. I mean, literally all over the road, in traffic.
Wow.
So, as I was just telling Kathy as well, you do something crazy out on the road, I'm not the guy to be around, because I'm the first one to call. So I had the state police on the phone, they nailed him. And they got him just past Solomon Pond. They got off at Solomon Pond, and they nailed him. And it was great. The guy was all over the place, in traffic, causing people to
Like-
shift.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Good for you.
Yeah, so it's like, it's crazy, you
Yep.
know? And the police they get a lot of grief these days, as everybody knows, and I'm not gonna go on my soapbox, but it's nice to see when they nail somebody like that,
Sure.
you know?
Absolutely.
Where is best to set the easel up?
Yeah, right over here.
Okay, so this is an appointment, not a
An
hearing.
appointment, not a hearing, correct.
So I want to begin by thanking you folks for having us. So for the record, I want to thank you, and I want to excuse the appearance of these renderings. I did them myself, so if you could just kind of squint when you look at them, they might look a little better. So if I can, again, for the record.
You don't have copies for us?
I don't, but I can get you something I can get you something tomorrow.
Okay.
I could
well,
put this on the table if you want to see it,
Yes.
if it's easier.
Yeah.
It's even better.
Yep. So the other thing, do you happen to know, or Kathy, do you know the NOI number for the filing when you guys did this? So I can go pull it?
Get it while we're waiting.
All right.
I have it in my Google Drive.
NOI. Thought I had it in my, I started drafting a cover letter, I don't have it here.
Yeah, I think I can get it.
So again, want to thank, oh, you guys want this, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
You asked for the file number?
Yeah,
Okay.
the DEP number.
DEP number.
Yep.
Okay, all right.
Should be a 107, right?
Yep. Walter, grab your coffee.
There you go, Walter. You're welcome. So again, for the record, Wayne Bellick Land Design Collaborative here on behalf of Kane Industrial Trust, obviously Kathy Adams, you folks know her. We're here for, the reason we're here basically is we were asked by the chair of the ZBA to get some written correspondence from the building inspector, Concom, and the Board of Health, as Kathy currently has an application requesting 2 variances from the local bylaws for a facility, which I'll show you in a second. She will be filing an application for site plan approval and special permit, and concurrent with that filing, we will be looking to file with the Conservation Commission a notice of intent. So under the zoning bylaws, my first thought when not having, looked at that specific requirement for that meeting on the variance, under the section 1234.10, under the zoning bylaw, they do require that the applicants get something in writing from the Conservation Commission, the building inspector, and the Board of Health, stating that they would support the project, provided that it complies with all their regulations within their jurisdiction. I do have a copy of that section of the bylaw on my phone if you guys would like to see that, and I could read verbatim what it states. But so that's basically what we're here for. Before we make a filing, I'm going to need something from the commission, and obviously that's to the commission's discretion, but it's required. So at a very minimum, I can go back and say, if the commission chooses not to issue such a letter, I can say, well, I asked them, sorry. But ideally, what I'd like to get is a letter, that way we start off on the right foot. So if I could take you folks through what we have here and where we've come. As you alluded to earlier, there was a notice of intent filing which followed the ORAD, which you folks issued, I think, in 2018. Subsequent to that, they filed the notice of intent for the construction of an access drive to get out through a wetland crossing in here, which was a culverted crossing to a gravel drive out to a public water supply well, pump house, and those improvements associated with it. That work, as I said, was buffer zone activity with the exception of this wetland crossing, which resulted in some fill in this area here on both sides, and replication was proposed in here. As you recall, the superseding work.
Wait.
Yep.
That work is already done?
The work is partially done. Okay, there are erosion and sediment control measures in place. The ORAD, the order is still open. So they had started the work out here. This work is done, the well is drilled. So the erosion sediment control measures are still there intact and doing their work. In the meantime, Kathy had filed with the Hudson Conservation Commission and filed an application for as part of this, As part of this, she also obtained an earth removal permit from the Earth Removal Board to, perform the work out here as well. So that was the permitting that occurred at the time of this NOI filing. Since then, she has gone before the town of Hudson, sought a variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals to reduce the pavement width of the access drive into the site from their required 30 feet down to 24. What we wanted to do is go down to 24 to minimize the amount of impervious area around the site. They supported it. We explained why. We spoke with both fire chiefs in both towns, and they supported the 24-foot width.
So that variance.
And this is the Hudson part.
That's correct. So the Hudson part goes out through the chair, out to Bigelow Road.
Right.
Okay.
And so she had that approved. That's been constructed. The stormwater management system The detention basin has been constructed, the plumbing has all been installed, the drainage, and so that is looking to have binder put down on it within the next 2 weeks. So that was all within the jurisdiction of the town of Hudson. Now what she's looking to do is work on this portion of the facility, which all this work was done for. I don't know if you folks recall, way back when, the purpose for this well is that the town of Hudson would not allow her to connect to their municipal water system. A little sidebar, even though their public wells are on Kane-owned property. So it's,
They let a house in Berlin connect to it.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, you
Well,
know?
there was that was a sweet deal. We shouldn't have allowed it to happen, but it did.
Yeah.
We didn't allow that to happen, I don't think.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Overrode.
That's true. We
Yeah.
issued we said no to that one too and got overrode by
Yep.
DEP.
Yeah. So at this point, what we wanted to do is have an informal with you folks. Like I said, the approach that I have taken, I sat on a conservation commission myself for 6 or 7 years, and had to resign because it did take up a bit of my time, being pretty much the only technical one on the board. It was like a second job. And the bride threatened to leave me because I spent so much time. Had I known what I know today, I would have stayed on the commission. Only kidding. Still married. Still married. But in any
Careful, this
event,
goes on YouTube.
hopefully she sees it. So in any event, we had, on this particular project, it's always been the intent to do a facility on the site. So like I said, the improvements have been made in this area. We're still waiting on some materials to construct the walls through the crossing. Like I said, the erosion sediment control measures are intact. And so that's basically where we are. We are looking to submit an application, like I said, for special permit and site plan approval within the next couple of weeks, and the same thing, notice of intent filing with you folks. So that is basically the existing conditions. What you see in green is the edge of the BVW, still a valid BVW. 25-foot no disturb in the orange, and then the 100-foot buffer zone in the red. If I could flip to, nope,
I have questions.
sure.
When was the last time the wetlands the flags were checked?
In terms of being there,
It being there and just checking, you said that it was still a good
Yep.
delineation.
Yep.
When was the last time it was checked to make sure it was still a good delineation?
so it's still a valid delineation under its being extended by virtue of the COVID-19.
Right.
So I'm thinking probably 2019. So
Okay.
that's 3 years
So-
at this point.
Right, so no one's gone out though to make sure the
To re-
flags are still
to
there?
refresh the flags, and that's correct. And I think what we're going to do is, as we get to that point, we make that filing with the commission before we have the site walk. Those areas within your jurisdiction, we would have the flags freshened up so that we could all see it for the site walk. In terms of the work associated, and if I could, any other questions on this sheet?
Yep.
And then, yep.
Yep, so you said that soil has been brought in here and here.
Yep.
So my recollection is that there was supposed to be, I'm trying to remember, because
can-
I went and did the site walk on
Yep.
this.
Yep.
Was that solid with a culvert?
I can fill you in.
Okay,
Okay, so the work has ceased in here. What they did is they laid down some plates, and in order to access this area here, we do have the stone box culvert underneath. So in order to maintain the structural integrity of that culvert, we laid down some 3.5-inch thick steel plates. So the machines had gone over that, still intact. They hadn't done the work here to fill this in here yet.
okay.
Okay.
So it still is free
That's
to flow.
correct.
Okay.
That's correct. So none of that has changed since day one. We do have, like I said, to this portion in here, this has been constructed to subgrade with erosion sediment control measures around that, and then it continues up through here as approved. This has all been constructed to gravel up to the well here, which has also been permitted by DEP. So that well is in.
Okay. Okay, now I have no more questions on this side.
Okay, we did do some additional soil testing up there. As you folks know, when we do a filing with the notice of intent, there's stormwater, and that triggers the state stormwater regulations, and their requirements are a test pit in the infiltration systems. They require one test pit for every 5,000 square feet of infiltration. So we identified areas of potential infiltration on site, and we had gone out there and opened up probably close to a dozen test pits on the site, all on this side. We did go through here over the culvert, not altering any BVW. We came up into this area in here to perform soil testing for the sewage disposal system. It's not going to be a large scale because of the nature of this type of facility. It is manufactured, and they tend to have smaller systems. So it's a smaller scaled sewage disposal system. One of the things that, and before I go on and flip to the next page, the variances that we're before the ZBA currently with. The reason we're doing that, now can I flip to the next page, now that I'm in variance mode? Thank you. So I like talking to you guys. My wife says I talk too much, you know?
Just keep going.
So this is why I wish I
going.
was
We're
on the
letting you
commission
dig your
again.
hole.
Thank
No.
you, thank you, much appreciated. I'll try not to dig too deep. So, the reason that we have gone before the ZBA requesting variances is they have a requirement that you cannot have any parking in front of a building. So technically, this is the front of the building. We're proposing parking in this area here, and then they don't allow parking within a certain setback to the property line. So we are also proposing the parking in that area. The Canes own this, which is Entwistle here, so they are in common ownership with these two properties. This back here is, as you know, the town of Berlin, and oddly enough, there's town-owned Hudson land in here, okay, in the town of Berlin. Very bizarre, okay?
They have lots of, not lots, but several parcels
In
around town.
No kidding,
Yeah.
that's crazy. That's crazy. Never saw that before
Yeah.
until this project.
Well, they own Gates Pond.
They own it?
Hudson does?
Yeah.
They,
Oh, no kidding.
It's part of their drinking water supply.
Oh, no kidding.
and their
Yeah.
dump was in Berlin also.
No
The
kidding.
Hudson dump was in Berlin.
Wow.
They went through the state legislature in the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Oh, well, that's before our time, I think. So what they had done is they had gone
Most of
before.
us.
I
I couldn't let it
never
go.
expected that.
Yeah, yeah.
Never expected
Never
that.
saw that one coming on
Yeah, right.
So with that, we have, so because of those requirements, so the alternative, to go with a variance-free application and providing the parking in the building, we could move the building closer to this area here and put the parking out back. The thought was is we wanted to keep the cleaner runoff, the rooftop runoff, which is gonna go into an infiltration system. We didn't want to take pavement runoff and direct it toward the wetland. So the thought was if we had the building here, the pavement here, that would keep the paved portion of the site away from the resource areas, and the same applies here. If we were to if they wouldn't allow the work as we're proposing, if they don't grant the variances, it could force our hand to take some of this parking and put it up in here, which we don't wanna do. When all is said and done, the proposal in terms of the vegetation, everything's going to remain permeable up through here. Yes, we're gonna have an infiltration system, or a leaching system up in here. It will be a pumped system up in this location. You'll have your public water supply well to serve the facility, but that will be the only thing on this side of the resource area. Everything else is going to be concentrated to the developed side over by Entwistle. So what we're looking to do, it's all, again, all buffer zone activity. Again, in orange, we have the 25-foot wetland offset line. In red, we have the 100-foot buffer zone. Basically, the site comes up through the constructed access drive. It continues to come up to a loading dock at this end of the building. Driveway comes up through here to an area in here for employees to access this lower section. It's a two-story building. Each pad or each deck is 22 feet separated by 22 feet, or 20 feet, 20-foot ceilings. Okay, so it is going to be a cannabis cultivation and manufacturing facility, measuring about 92,500 square feet total. So that's roughly about 46,000 square feet of footprint per floor. There's going to be an upper loading area
That's close to 8 acres total,
on the
Of floor space.
yeah.
92,000 square feet.
Oh, maybe more than that then, yeah,
No.
43,000. Oh, excuse me, I'm thinking what am I thinking? I'm thinking 5,300.
You know, you're remembering the conversions.
been a
Walter.
while.
That's okay, that's okay. So, well, just think how I feel. I do the same thing and I'm designing these things. So again, we have so they're looking at a 92,000 square foot facility. In here, what you're seeing are subsurface infiltration systems. That's some of the Cultec chambers. We're looking to do the same thing in this area here. The only above surface or open to air stormwater detention infiltration is in here. The existing system takes up this footprint, and what we'd be doing is expanding it in this area, and it will continue to discharge where it currently heads toward the town of Hudson. With that, you know, all the improvements in here, we do have an area of cut up in here, minimizing the tree clearing as much as we can. We've gone with a 2-to-1 slope, which will be provided with slope stabilization up above. The other thing that we're looking to do is, we've got areas up in this area which pitch down onto the site. So rather than take that through our drainage system, which is gonna blow up the size of the drainage systems and cause us to possibly come into this area, we said, okay, why don't we take the runoff that comes from up here, pick it up, put it through a swale and shunt it past our system so it doesn't have to go through it, and we leave this area green. That's basically it. Stormwater runoff is going to be collected in deep sump-hooded catch basins and routed into the infiltration systems. Again, rooftop runoff the same. It's going to be collected and run through the systems. The systems are going to be designed to comply with the state stormwater regulations, and that's it. So we're going to be meeting groundwater recharge. We're going to be meeting the peak rates, of runoff, pre and post construction, and all the requirements of the state stormwater regs. And obviously your requirements. We're not doing work within the 25-foot. What we are doing, with the exception of this area in here. So this was previously permitted in here for this crossing in here. So the thought would be, we're realigning this area in here. So there's gonna be a little activity in here, Walter, I didn't wanna block your view here, but there's gonna be a little activity in here. So what we would do is, with the activity in here, we would offset what was previously permitted by revegetating it. So
I don't,
So anything that we previously had worked in the 25-foot no disturb
yeah,
for this access drive, which is now shifting over, we would loam and seed that, reloam and seed that.
okay. But you're still, I mean, okay, so there's a whole bunch of stuff. I didn't
Yep.
want to interrupt you.
No, that's fine.
You were on a roll.
Oh, really? How'd I do? Am I deep in a hole, or
Well, well, I got some things.
am I seeing some light though?
Okay, so first of all,
Yeah,
saying that you might have to move parking back here.
if we don't get the variance.
What does that do to your 50% green space that's required?
So we would still have it. We would still have it. So what would happen is that green space, no matter how it goes, you'll still have the green space, because all we're doing is just swapping the square footages. So we would still meet the 50%. We far exceed that. I don't have it on the plan. I don't have that layout plan, but we do have more than the 50% required
Okay.
green space.
I don't understand if you're putting in, so talk to me a little bit about this parking lot drainage system.
Mm-hmm.
What, it's just going to all drain right there and filter down into the groundwater? It's being rerouted somewhere? How's that?
Yep. So basically the way this will work is we'll collect it, probably looking at the grading in here. Looks like Jim's got the low point down in this area here.
We'll collect it, route it through the stormwater system where it would, prior to going into the system, it would receive treatment from a vortex type unit or a storm scepter type unit to remove the suspended solids. Then it would make its way into the infiltration system where the groundwater will be recharged in this location. As part of that design, it's not only an infiltration system, but it's a stormwater detention system, a subsurface detention system. So once it makes its way through that, we haven't determined whether or not we're going to discharge it in this direction or if it's going to come in this direction, subject to, so one of the things that we need to do is looking at the topography, the tributary watershed areas in here, because we have to meet the pre and post, that's what we're going to be doing. We're gonna send it in the direction that it naturally goes today, meeting that pre-development peak rate in that direction. So I hope, did that answer your question or not really?
No, it does.
Okay.
So why couldn't you flip these?
So if we flip those, we could, but it would have, the thought was that we would have the cleaner runoff from the building, the rooftop, rather than the pavement, the dirty
Right, but the
pavement, so to speak.
the pavement runoff, you're actually cleaning with this system.
Yep,
And there's nothing cleaning the rooftop, so this is actually going to be cleaner than this here.
yeah, so so this rooftop is going into here as well,
Okay,
okay? So that's going, we're collecting the rooftop runoff and recharging that as well.
okay.
So the thought was that if we could kind of keep this, in terms of snow storage, that's kind of the thought here. If we can keep the snow storage, restricted to this area, rather than if it were flipped, it would be at the upgradient slopes of areas tributary to the resource areas. So that was, again, looking at it, in the big picture,
Yep.
we want to keep the snow storage away from the resource areas.
I have the original file number.
Oh, good, thank you.
CE 107-0247, but that's the original. There was a superseding order that would have a different number.
Right.
I'm still looking for that,
What's the DEP number?
The superseding has a different.
I think, doesn't it?
I don't
It
think so.
shouldn't.
no.
That whole project should be under this
that.
number.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then
Right.
it's 107-0247,
Okay, thank you so much.
0247?
0247, yes.
Mhm.
So if the DEP overrode us on all this,
Mhm.
what is it that you need from us?
So, just as a refresher, what DEP, what we didn't want was to allow this crossing.
Were we okay with it, the building in the buffer zone?
It was not proposed at the time.
Right, there
Oh,
was no,
okay.
right, all it was the well and septic in the back, and we didn't want to allow this crossing. Now, at the time, and I don't know that it matters at this juncture, all of the mechanicals or any connections, any pipes or whatever, are supposed to ride along the top here.
Yep, so
Is
actually,
that still,
it was, they were, what was approved, was having it run, just to this side of the crossing. The reason being is because we're meeting the stream crossing standards with the openness ratio through here. I don't know if you folks recall, but we have the existing,
yeah, it's an old stone box culvert.
sitting under here,
Yep.
okay? So the way it was designed is because the grade of the bridge had to be up here, we had to meet the openness ratio. So this whole area in here needed to meet that requirement. So in meeting that, what we did is we said, okay, and this was the wish of the commission, we actually, DEP had asked, why don't you just remove that stone box culvert? They said, remove that, and that would provide you more value or more openness.
Right.
And the response was, it was the desire of the commission to leave it intact, and so we were making up for that openness ratio up above. So in doing that, we had provided that, and because it's open, we didn't want to hang the utilities under that. And then to maintain the integrity of the box culvert, we said we're gonna come down to the down gradient side, which we did with some temporary alterations. So what's going to be coming through here is we're proposing a sleeve for the force main sewer. That's you're probably looking at maybe a 2-inch or 2.5
Underground.
inch underground.
Okay.
Protected from frost, and the same thing with the water in any electrical and data transmission that is going to be required for the pump house. So when we met with the ZBA, the chair had asked, would the commission approve that crossing, going through there with sewer? I said, well, we've received it's been permitted with a superseding order. So I
But
said,
you didn't tell them, we didn't approve it.
well, when I said a superseding order, you're right.
Yeah.
So what I said,
Just clarifying.
yep. So, again, I've
with
done this for a couple of years.
Yeah, your
nearly
words are
40
on
years.
point, huh?
Yeah.
Yep. So I said, yes, it received a superseding order, and it's been permitted. Those were pretty much my words. And so to answer that question, so then it just begged the question, what are they looking for? I read their bylaw, and in the bylaw, Kathy, I sent that to you tonight as well. So within the bylaw, it just basically states, whether or not the commission would support a project like this as being presented to the ZBA, provided that it complied with all of the regulations. And they're looking for something in writing from the commission that says, yes, provided that it complies with all the requirements, we would support it.
Who did we have check those flags?
Me and Dave Burke and Waterman. Brian
Yeah.
Waterman went out.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
So Brian's the one, so I was at Waterman for over 20 years,
Okay.
as was, I don't know if you know Mike Scott, Mike was as well, and Jim Almonte, and we decided to move on after over 20 years working together at Waterman, and started our own company right before COVID.
Excellent.
Good
Yeah,
timing,
right?
huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect timing, but it worked out incredibly well. I don't know, it worked out incredibly well. Timing was okay.
Right.
It really didn't bother us, so.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So with that, Brian had done that delineation. We're no longer working with Brian at the direction of his brother. We would like to work with Brian. He's very talented, as you folks know.
Yeah.
But we do work with others. We do work with Ecotech. We work with New England Northeast Ecological Services. Scott Heim, I don't know if you know Scott.
Name's familiar.
Yeah, so we work with Scott. We work with Lucas Environmental. We work with a number of folks. We work with Matt Marrow. I don't know if you folks know him. He's from the Ashburnham area.
Yep.
So we've done some work with him. So, in the refreshing of the flags, what it would take is with the consultant, typically on something like this, with it still being a valid line, we would have the flags surveyed back in based on the coordinates that were established in the original filing, refresh the flags, and the consultant would go through, refresh, renumber the flags, and anything missing, the surveyor would resurvey back in.
Right.
So it is hot in here.
It is hot in here.
It's getting hotter.
It's not usually, so.
Face plant
didn't-
forthcoming, I'm telling you right now.
now. All right, we can wait them out, guys.
So this is prior to me, I think, right? All
Oh,
this.
yes.
So,
You look familiar. I don't know, do you work in the construction industry at all?
I
No?
do,
I've seen you somewhere.
probably.
I have.
There's probably a mugshot out there somewhere.
Yeah.
It wasn't the post
I
office.
think,
no.
well, see, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
That's
no.
what I was thinking.
But
No, I'm
no
a
one goes
Hudson
to the
kid.
post
Yeah.
office anymore, so.
so you're good.
Yeah.
It's killing me, so this is probably gonna be what I'm focused on throughout this whole process.
If you figure it out, let me know.
I will. It's killing me.
So it seems to me that this plan is not final, that there could be some changes made.
So that's a good question. So at this point, we're pretty close to it. We are running the hydrology pretty much as we speak. We're finalizing the plans. Like I said, the approach that we've taken with this design for this facility on this site, we feel from an environmental perspective is the most sensitive. Again, keeping the building, the cleaner runoff, again, it is going to infiltration. If we are meeting the groundwater recharge to this area here, and we are maxing out the capacity, I'm thinking that, looking at this, there is more capacity to expand the system over in here. I believe that this may have been, at that point, already sized, and that is the reason that it is that size at this point. We are going to have, for fire protection, so the well is going to provide the domestic and the fire suppression system flows. So once it enters the building, it's going to do its thing. It's going to enter through a cistern or two. Not sure of the size yet, we're sizing that, and those are probably gonna be in this area here. We're thinking, Kathy, block your ears, somewhere between 30 and 40,000 gallons each, I'm thinking, but not sure at this point.
Well, I
Impressive.
mean, it'll be whatever the fire department tells you
That's
to
right,
put in.
yep. So it'll be that, and we have a fire suppression engineer. So the approach that I've always taken, and I'm glad, again, thanks for your time on this wonderfully cool evening, but my approach is open communications. Without it, you fail. So I like to have dialogue, I like the open communications, and this is why, when I was sitting on the commission way back when in my hometown, people would tend to file with the ZBA or planning board and wait for the commission at the end.
Right.
And it used to infuriate me. So I'm glad to see that, and that was some 25 years ago. And I'm just glad to see a lot of the communities have gotten to the point where they're requiring that everybody file concurrent.
Yep.
Because that's the only way to get it done.
Yep, properly, for sure.
So if we hadn't seen this ever before, if we hadn't already been overruled by DEP on that, would we support this project as is with all this in the buffer?
No.
No.
So I would say, to me, if DEP has already overruled us, this should be in their court. If they've already made the decision to allow this, they
He-
should have to decide on that.
He's just
too.
requesting a letter from us to support
But
the
that's-
project for the zoning boards.
Right,
So,
That's
but-
so
an
the way,
email.
right,
yeah, and
because
so the
those
way
are
it's-
our regulations, that the zoning, that they
Right.
come before the other commissions.
But I don't think we should support a project that we didn't support in the first place.
Which
So it is a different project, with all due respect. The two different filings, part of the same master project, and I appreciate what you're saying, that the jurisdiction of this is in the jurisdiction of DEP. This, we're required to file with the commission. And the requirement, Kathy, could you please read that requirement, just so I don't botch it and get deeper in the hole here?
For the zoning board?
Yeah,
Right, no, and you don't need to, Kathy,
Okay.
because I'm very clear on what they're looking for. They're
Yep.
just looking for a letter saying that we,
would support the project provided it complies with the regulations.
I don't know if I
basically.
could use those words, but,
Yeah.
hold on, Lynn.
What the ZBA is looking for
Thank you.
is for you to submit a plan, because you don't recognize me, that would include any concerns that the Conservation Commission have written down on the plan. So if you're gonna do X, Y, Z, have it on the plan. If I could be so bold as to make a suggestion, you're gonna have to file plans, the finished plans with us by the middle of next month. And we are not meeting until the second Wednesday in September with you again.
Correct.
So it may be you wanna supply conservation with a copy of the plans and have them be assured that whatever notations that need to be on the plans are on there. Just my thought.
I was going to ask for that. I also would like, a copy of the conditions issued by DEP.
That was-
Correct,
That
so-
was sent over to the commission when they did it, but I can do it again tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, so that's typically when I do my filing, and I appreciate the chair's comments and clarifying and helping me out, thank you. So, my approach would be, as with any filing, I would give you all the supporting information so that you have everything. You can see
Right.
where the project has been and what is being presented to you and how things lay out. So basically what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, that basically on the plans, we would look to have the concerns the Concom may have about the filing spelled out on the plans as filed. So
Pretty much the only thing I like on this plan that you're doing is that you're cleaning the runoff
Okay.
before you discharge it. And personally, I don't think it matters which side of the building that happens on,
Mhm.
but that isn't up to me to decide.
Okay.
You guys have your reasons for wanting it there. So,
So we will, Madam Chair, we would look to submit concurrent with the filing with the ZBA. So once, and I see in the requirements of the ZBA that within, I think it was 5 days of the filing with the ZBA, that plans are to be distributed or the filings to be distributed to Concom as well as others. So you will probably get that in addition to the NOI filing that we're gonna be making with you folks.
right. Okay. Yeah, yes, ma'am?
And what you could do in your, letter to the ZBA is include the date of the,
The original
plot
filing.
plan, okay? So that it would say that you agree, disagree, contest, whatever, this particular plan that's coming. Then if something happens during the course of what we're doing to make some kind of a major change, that would indicate to us that we'd have to come back to you and make sure you're aware of it.
Right.
So if I, through the chair, so if I understand correctly what the chair is suggesting, is that anything shown on the plans with respect to the notes where you folks take issue be provided on the plan, so that if there are concerns about it, that we come back to you. Is that what I'm understanding?
Right, but she's also suggesting that we, when we have a plan,
Yep.
that we reference the date of
Yep,
that
gotcha,
plan.
yep.
So that they know which copy we're working off
Gotcha,
of.
good call, good
Correct?
call. And that's something that we would look to do in terms of, again, it will be the same date as the ZBA filed plans referenced.
Right,
So yes, good
yep,
call.
but just so we're all working off the same copy.
Yep, yep.
Have you met with the Board of Health yet?
Not yet. So
Right.
we wanted to make this first stop because looking at the entities referenced in that 123410, the Conservation Commission typically is the one that that can really make or break. Okay, so we'd like to come here first, hear from you folks first, so that if there are adjustments that need to be made, again, we feel that in terms of the impacts to the environment, we feel that, and I say this respectfully, that this is probably the most environmentally friendly design of the layout for this type of program on the property. And so with that, we'll be reaching out to the Board of Health, and so within their jurisdiction, they will be discussing the septic that is up in this area here. We will have the waste will flow to a septic tank with the effluent flowing to the pump chamber and then up to the leach field. At this point, I don't know if we're gonna have a drain back bump in the pump chamber or not have a drain back in the pump chamber. We've yet to decide.
Right.
Just not really part of our business, but is this just gonna be strictly production and not sales?
That's correct.
retailing? So
That's correct, yep.
wholesale and, so it's, okay.
Yeah, so you're
So
not
how
going
many,
to
I'm
see the
looking at the
deadheads up
parking
here.
there, how many?
People
looks
does it
quite a
take to
few
grow that?
employees.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Got
A
so-
lot of cars.
Boatload of parking there.
Yeah, so it all depends on who, I know that the Kathy has a tenant that they're working with for the project, and they're going through their process. So we have it currently set up for 75 to 100 employees that could work at the facility. Now, it varies. It all
Yeah.
depends on on the type, on the facility, we've seen, some with as little as 20, 25 employees, and others with even more. When all is said and done, I believe, Kathy, in terms of the square footage and the production, it's going to be more than the 90, because it's tiered within each deck. There's actually the square footage, the production is greater than the 92,000 square feet, just the way they produce the
No,
plant
they're
material.
not gonna stack it.
Oh, okay, so then it's
So it's
92.
gonna, must be a hydroponic,
No.
grown in
Right,
soil,
with organic soil,
really?
Inside though?
inside.
Trader Joe's.
Right, because that was actually one of the questions I was gonna ask about the water usage. Is, you said the septic is gonna be small because it's really just for daytime employee use
Yep.
kind of thing.
Yep.
What happens to the water that's used in the growing process?
The
Does it get
plants-
recycled?
Well, the plants take in the water
Mm-hmm.
and then,
Evaporated.
it just evaporates. Usually the water that the plants expel goes through dehumidification, which would probably, I don't know, we'll have to talk to Wayne about this, but that can either go back through the clean filtration area, or can recycle back.
Or
Most of
some
them
kind
use
of
a
gray water
reverse os-
system or
They use a
something.
reverse osmosis system anyways, to try to, make it as pure as possible.
Right.
So the state does have what they refer to as, I know what they are. You register them with the state. It is a discharge for that type of waste. And
All the
typic-
big tanks that sit out in the lot, the
Yeah.
18-wheeler tanks.
No, these are the, it's designed that you can use Cultec chambers or Storm Tech chambers. They are injection wells. They are something injection wells. I forgot the term. I've designed a number of them. But basically what they do is they take that, and they use them for air conditioning systems too. So a lot of times when you see these facilities that have large air conditioning systems, a lot of the computer facilities will have them. They'll have the cooling towers, and then the cooling towers, what happens is they will recirculate the water through the system up to about 7 times, I believe it is the maximum before the water is no longer usable. And then the residual that doesn't get evaporated through the cooling towers gets discharged to these underground injection wells. And it requires a registration with the state. The other thing that a lot of consultants don't do, but is required by the state, is infiltration systems. Infiltration systems are required to be registered with the state. When we spoke with the state years ago about this, because it was my first underground injection control well, that's what they're called. When I did my first one for cooling towers, I read that they require them for stormwater infiltration as well. I asked the state what percentage, how many of these do you see for applications? He was actually surprised to see one for it. He said about only 2% of the consultants submit these, So, and it's nothing, it's just registering with the state, so the state knows you have one on you.
Sorry, what are we gonna do? I mean,
I think we're gonna see you in 2 weeks. I think that I would like the documents. I would like to see what you're filing with them.
Yep.
Also, I'd like to review the superseding order of conditions, whether I go find it in the files or you guys send it again,
I can
doesn't
send it
matter.
over. No problem.
And then we'll decide what our letter is gonna say. We will send a letter
Okay.
saying that you have done what you were to do and came in.
So with respect to what you're looking to see in 2 weeks now, so here's where I see us. Is that we're looking to submit prior to the 17th of August, okay? We're still in the throes of the hydrologic analysis and the hydraulics analysis.
Okay.
On a site like this, it gets tricky because we're only dealing with so much area to play with, so that becomes challenging. in 2 weeks, I'm not gonna have that part of it done, but the plans would be even further along than this. So,
Do you wanna wait 4 weeks?
so in 4 weeks, if I wait 4 weeks, that allows for, so from us, what would the commission like to see from us in 2 weeks? Just so I have an idea, I can get you the order of conditions.
Right, I would like
Superseding
the order of conditions.
Yep,
And I would like,
progress set with a bit of stuff on it,
yeah,
okay? With details and the whole shoot match.
yeah, I'd like to see the proposed leach field
Yep.
at least.
Gotcha.
And when are you going before the Board of Health?
Very soon, so I wanted to get this done, like I said. I'll be reaching out to them, either to, what is today? Is today Wednesday?
Today's
Wednesday the
Wednesday.
20th.
Okay.
That one I can tell you, the
Wednesday
date I'm
20th.
So,
a little sketchy
I think
on.
what I'll do is I'll reach out to Bill Brookings maybe tomorrow, talk to him, and tell him of the requirement of the ZBA, let him know that we've met with you folks. Like I said, I wanted to talk with you guys first before I went anywhere else.
Right.
And then we still have a meeting with the building inspector as well.
Okay. Yep.
So I would look to do that before meeting with you folks, get something from him, show him what we have. So I will get the proposed leach field showing, so you'll see the routing of the piping, you'll see the septic tank and the pump chamber out
Yep,
here.
yep.
By then, I should have an idea as to where the cisterns are going to be provided in here. We'll have a little bit more plumbing on the plan,
Okay.
so you'll see what.
And you said you were going to maybe see about expanding this.
So I am going to see if it requires expanding and whether or not it's already been sized to take the impervious area shown on the site. If it hasn't been fully sized to do that, then you'll see the expansion
Right.
of that
And
system.
I would like to see some of the plumbing of how the rooftop runoff ends up in that.
What email should I send the superseding to?
Conservation at Town of Berlin is fine. And then I can send it to everybody.
So, something going
No, I know.
on. I think, probably in about, if this is what you're looking for, we can have that level of detail to you in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
So if I got something like that to you prior to that, and you're Carolyn, right?
I am. And you're Wayne.
Great, so I figured we would have introductions at some point,
Yeah, and
so-
normally we do, but we
Yeah.
just all started
Yeah,
talking,
yeah. So,
So
Yeah.
do you think you will have met with the Board of Health within those 2 weeks?
I am hoping to, yeah.
Okay, because sometimes their regulations conflict with ours, and that would make a big difference.
Yeah, and so what I find is that, I'm happy to have the chair of the ZBA in here. And I'm glad to hear, that comment about the Board of Health and hearing it before the commission. What I have found in my 40 years of doing this, or near 40 years of doing this, is that there are conflicting regulations between boards, departments, and even state agencies. So when you do a project, it's that balance. So you've got to do it in such a way that you're meeting all the requirements, and sometimes they conflict. Sometimes you have to meet with two boards, and at times it's unpleasant because you have one board taking a certain position and the other board or commission taking another position.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you just step away and you just say, "Oh God, what have I created?" So,
Yeah, yeah.
but listen, I do.
Well, some of us work better to
Yep.
get with each other than
Yep.
other boards play,
Well-
but we do what we can.
So that's what's appreciated. Like I said, one of the, when I left my commission, part of the problem that we had there is the chair refused to work with other boards and commissions. And you can't do that.
Right.
Everybody's gonna work together, so.
Yep.
I do appreciate it. Are there any other questions, if I could ask through the board, or through the chair?
Printouts.
Yes,
For next
I
week.
can get you, yes.
Yeah, so definitely send us something digitally.
Yep,
But, and they don't have to be big like this
can get
for
you the
each of
11 to
us. Yeah,
17.
the
Yeah. 'Cause
smaller
those are
ones
awesome.
for us to.
That's
those
perfect.
are awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And how many of those copies are the 11 by 17?
Well, hopefully we'll have a full commission next meeting, so
What's the
there's
full
7 of
complement?
us.
Oh, no kidding,
Yeah.
you guys are
Well, we
fortunate.
should get
Yeah.
8 because of Maddie. so
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so 8.
Wow, fortunate, very
Yes.
fortunate. A lot of commissions out there don't have that. They're
We were
low.
down, Kyle was our last one we roped in.
Okay, nice.
Glad to be here.
He came looking for it.
So I have the first, wow, no
Yeah.
kidding,
Yep,
no
so,
kidding, yeah. So it's a struggle to get people to volunteer. you know,
indeed it is,
and,
and
you
more and
know,
more.
Yeah, they don't,
Yep.
they can't appreciate it unless they've done it. So, I do, thank everybody for your time tonight.
Thank you for coming in.
and,
Thanks for
much
sweating with us.
appreciated. It was
Yeah, it's
wonderful.
getting worse.
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
Shower forthcoming. So again, do appreciate it, and you folks have a great night.
All right,
Thank you.
Enjoy, I was gonna say enjoy your 4th, but that already happened.
yeah.
So, much appreciated, thank you very much.
All right,
Well, it says it's sent.
okay,
If for some reason you don't have it, just shoot me an email in the morning. and
Okay.
I'll get it
Thank you,
right
Madam
back.
Chairman.
You're doing
awesome.
I'm sorry?
Oh,
You're doing
Kathy, could you sign our
I
attendance?
did.
You did, okay,
Lynn
thank
gave
you.
it to me.
Not in person, but pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Got
thank
it.
you.
I already signed.
Awesome. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you, folks.
And Fred, thanks for being patient. Come on up. Yeah, he blew us off last meeting, so it's no big.
That's what you get.
That's what you
Yeah.
get.
I had it in my calendar, but didn't have a reminder set,
Ah,
so, yeah.
It's one thing about writing notes, you have to look at them. I do that all the time. I write myself notes and then don't ever look at them and,
I chalked it up to being a senior moment.
yeah, that's all right.
So I'm pretty sure I fumbled on that NOI.
First of all, we
Oh.
owe them a thank you for that fences
Right.
and stuff that
Right,
the
yeah.
department
They
put
look
up
really
up there
great.
on,
Yes.
on Linden
Yeah.
Street and,
It's awesome.
that's,
And,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Fences and.
I haven't seen a single car parked in there though. Since
I haven't either.
No,
Well, it's
Right.
there, Louise.
yeah.
yeah.
I think the only thing
Right.
that's been in there is our mower.
So this is a hearing or an appointment?
So this is are you officially filing the NOI tonight? I think so, right? Yeah.
Whatever you
Yeah,
want to
So
do.
it's a hearing.
Yes, you are.
Yes, I am, yes.
Right, because
Okay.
you want to get going on this.
Well,
I
it's
assume.
still kind of in limbo because Margaret had started our IFBs in draft, sent them to me. I went through them, sent them back to her with some questions, and it went crickets. So, I have time to get this done, because once those are done, then I have to actually advertise it for contracts, and people come in, they pick up their bid.
Okay, so you definitely have some time.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, I can actually show you
Right,
what
here,
it is.
Well, you do that, because I'm
Show us.
right.
Good luck with that.
Oh.
So it's actually, it's gonna be on 2 roads in town. I don't know if there's much on Randall. The big spot is on Highland Street, cause I wanna do from, it's basically, this is the
So I
intersection.
think this is not gonna be a hearing,
Okay,
Oh,
right?
wow.
Oh, right, there can't be a hearing, because he didn't do any mailings.
right.
So, never mind. We've
Okay.
got to
You're off the
post
hook.
it, we have to post it in the paper, and we need to send letters to abutters
Okay.
for it to be an official hearing.
Okay.
It's a lot of
So-
abutters though, right? Because it's
I
all
know,
of
yeah,
Rivermont.
we're gonna
Yeah.
see what we can do
So
about that.
what is
but-
this about anyway? What is
So
it?
this is gonna be a reclamation project. We're gonna pulverize the road and repave it.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna start at the intersection of Randall Road and go all the way to the town line. There is, by, Clover Hill Farm, Clover Hill Horse Stables, there's a pond.
Mhm.
And then just before the town line, where Dennis Fairbay lives
Yeah.
now, there's a stream.
Wetlands, right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That one, I believe, actually crosses the road, crosses under the road.
It does, yeah.
The pond, I think it's just a stagnant pond. But those, I think, are the only 2 areas that are within, definitely within the 100 feet of where we're gonna be working.
Which pond?
It's by Clover Hill.
That one?
Right, so that's Great Oak.
No. Where's the town line? So I believe,
Town line is right here.
so this would be Fairbay.
Yep.
This is the cemetery, so it's
Right.
actually,
Oh, this,
Right, so this
Yeah.
is all Great Oak Farm.
right.
yeah,
Right, so this would be Randall Road and Highland.
yes.
Correct.
So the pond, it's either It's either on this side or it's on this side.
Oh, a little water hole by the barn.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's, okay. This is the house, or is that the house? Yeah, there's the barn, yeah, so I think you got about, I think this is it, right about there.
Yeah, because there's an entrance on one side of it, and then it kind of loops around and goes out of their property.
Oh, excuse me, I take that back. This is the barn, so the water hole is right here. Yeah,
Because even when I zoomed in, I couldn't find it, but I knew it was there.
yep.
And
I
then
don't even know how
Randall
to answer
Road,
that question.
Randall Road, it showed this spot right here.
Yeah,
And
just
this
to
too.
let them
So
know what
we're
we're
gonna
gonna
be
be
doing,
looking for their
uh,
crossings.
Randall Road from the Highland Street intersection to where the last joint was. I didn't write down the pole number, but it's just by Hickey Foster's old house.
Right,
Once
right.
you come down around that corner,
Mm-hmm.
just past their driveway,
I know.
we're stopping just before, oh, sorry.
No,
Um,
it's.
We're gonna stop just before the pipe that goes under the road, cause that's where they finished last time. And I know there was a spot by, I can't think of that dude's name.
Who used to live
Ray
there?
Ellis's.
Yeah.
Ray Ellis's is
Yeah,
where
not who
there's
lives
a-
there now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
We
a
gotta talk
stream
about who
there.
lived there like 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a stream that crosses just on
Right.
one side of his property. I think that's the only spot that we would encounter water, because the culvert we have down below Bobby Giles' place doesn't get much water. Like right this time of year, I think it was dried up.
Right.
So those are the areas that I think I'd have to have addressed.
Right, so how many stream crossings are we talking?
Or
Or stream loosely used?
there's gonna be at least two definitive ones, the ones by Bobby and the one down by the town line on Highland Street.
Okay.
Which would be actually the Durant's property, the old Durant property. That one too, I think, is down to a trickle.
I was gonna say, this time of year, August is usually like the perfect time to do this stuff.
Right.
But you said you're a few months out.
Oh yeah, we're at least a month.
Okay.
I'm
I was
pretty
gonna say, cause
sure.
usually like August is when like everything's like dried up and,
Right.
Yeah.
you know, there's nothing running through the culverts.
It's
like
a good thing
perfect.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that, exactly.
Right.
It's perfect
Yeah.
time to do this stuff.
I was actually hoping to have it already on the ground by now, but
Yeah.
it didn't quite work out.
I mean, he's gonna pave the roads, he knows that they know what they're doing, we've never had any problem with the highway department, so if you're gonna put your, or is this the formal one now?
Tonight is not the formal one.
This is
Okay.
informational,
Yeah, this is-
right,
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, make sure I
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm,
know what's going on with
looking
these
through
things.
this, yeah.
good. So how many stream crossings would it be?
Two definite ones.
Right,
Yeah.
and then something up here, right?
Yeah.
No, that's one of the ones he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
so this is, actually you can see it's just barely starting to come out, but yeah,
Right.
this is like all wet.
Okay,
So that's where it does cross the road, and it heads this way from his property. And then there's, actually not these ones. This is the pond, right
Mhm.
there at the horse stable barn.
right. And so that's Great Oak Farm, and Sudbury Valley Trustees holds the conservation restriction for that with us. So I did email Dan Stimson at SVT just to say, hey, you know, do you want input? And he was like, no, as long as they're, you know, best practices. So I guess, let me tell you the things we would be concerned about.
Mhm.
We would be concerned about, you know, obviously, especially as you're grinding it up, about asphalt getting into the water, or water, you
Yeah.
know, where the water will be at some point.
Yeah.
'Cause, you know, if it's dry. And then just, you know, 'cause you're not really getting into soil, right? You're not going down to bare dirt.
No, they're actually only going down 8 inches.
Right.
The
Are
pole
you gonna
barn's 8
widen it,
inches.
Fred?
Nope.
Good,
Uh,
we don't wanna widen any roads.
No.
Right,
Not
so,
with the
but
cost of hot
there's,
top.
yeah, so, I don't know what, just like some silt fencing?
That's what I'm thinking.
You don't use tar more, anyway, you put down, hot top, right?
Yeah.
So
So
what's the
that-
Pretty-
difference between,
It's much cleaner, it's much,
Well, in the old days, they had, they had a big tank truck with tar, and they tarred the road, then they backed over it with sanders, and they rolled it with the steamroller, and
Right.
so there was liquid tar.
right,
But the,
Well, they still use that now, but now it's called a chip seal. So basically, they have that tanker show up with the liquid asphalt and they spray it out, and then they just put like almost like pea stone, only it's more jagged, so it all locks together, and they roll it. But we don't have very many roads in town that we could benefit that. It's
so
it's
that's
cheaper.
not what's gonna happen here.
Nope, we're actually
Okay.
gonna grind the road up, regrade it, and then just put down regular asphalt.
just curious, how do you pick the different areas you're gonna do, Fred? This is about what, a mile altogether?
Yeah.
And you got 42 miles of road in town, so is it 42 years before you do another one over? I mean, go around with it again, or how do you decide?
Actually, a cool thing that Denny had is we have an index card file
Yeah.
that every time road work was done,
Yeah.
he wrote it down.
Yeah,
Especially Highland Street, so
Yeah.
there's 3 index cards with Highland Street that shows this year, it was actually, I think the last time it was done was 88, 89. So they did one section from like Paul Wheeler's to
Oh,
Everett
yeah.
Wheeler's.
Oh, he kept immaculate records.
Oh, yeah, it was
So,
perfect,
I can't believe that was how long ago that they did that.
yeah.
Wow.
you're
how
getting
thick
old.
is a road?
Gates Pond Road
These,
was
well, it all
done
depends,
about 20 years
'cause each
ago.
person
It was
had their
done
own
right
preference.
before we
Yeah.
moved in, it was
So it
say
used to
it's
be
still pretty
an
good.
inch and
it
a
was
half
perfect,
on
yeah,
the
just
bottom,
now
and then
starting
an
to
inch of
notice
top.
some
Yeah.
cracks here.
Which
So you
is
grind it
why-
down to 8,
Yeah, so we grind it down, what they do is they'll come in, they'll pulverize everything, and it's supposed to mix the asphalt they're grinding up in with the base coat, and then they spray liquid calcium in it, and then they regrind it back in, not as deep, and then they finally roll it, and then they cap it with liquid calcium. And it's
Cool.
supposed to bind everything all up. But I've actually projected, we're gonna put 2.5 inches of binder with 1.5 inches of top, because of the traffic on Highland Street. I remember we did, I hated doing it, that's why I wanted to get it on the ground now, because all the other superintendents, we were hot tubbing in like October. You know, the plants were ready to close, everything is cold,
Yep,
and the road is just crap. Crosby Road was paved right after a rainstorm, so the roller's going over it and there's mud coming out of the holes. It's
Ugh.
like,
Mm.
this is horrendous.
yeah,
So we're trying to change a lot of the bad habits that we had.
right,
So, which makes it tough sometimes because, you know, with the price of asphalt now, it obviously doesn't go
Yeah,
as
I'll
far.
bet. I'll
Right.
bet.
But I'm hoping actually by doing this, I probably won't be around when this has to be redone, but in the future, with the 2.5 inches of binder, they can actually start just cold planing. You know, like the state does, they can come in, they can take that 1.5 inches off, as long as the road isn't completely falling apart, and just, you know, they're gonna come in, plane it, and then just put 3/8 top back down.
right.
So we should never have to start reconstructing roads.
Okay.
That's
thinking
awesome.
ahead, very good.
Yep,
Yeah.
right.
Excellent.
I think you did a decent job. I'm just. Right, so I think the only thing that maybe you should do is right here, under the general project description, do, you know, a mile or whatever the length is.
Okay.
And then like from address to you know, just kind of like, just delineate it a little bit more.
Okay.
And other than that, I think, I mean, what did I show you? There was one of the things was, you know, book and page number for the property. I'm like, I'm not so sure the roads have a book and page number.
Yeah.
So, you know, if they have more questions, they'll ask us.
Okay.
But I think this will be fine. So that would be the only place, you know, just ask for a little more. And then maybe if you can get a map that shows both streets on the same page and just highlight it, and we'll include it as an attachment, and I think that will be good.
Assessor, print that out for you, probably, Fred.
Well,
Yeah.
these were actually snippets, because I get on the Mass Dot site, because
Yeah.
it pulls up all our streets.
Oh, yeah.
And so I could zoom in and I was like,
Yeah.
but like, at that size, you couldn't see where the wetlands were.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
like, well, I'm gonna zoom in, so we
Yeah.
snip them.
Yeah,
Right.
if there was just one more that showed,
Yeah.
that
Yep.
have all three.
So it's work in progress.
Yep, yep, but I think it's good and, you know, you said something about them spraying liquid calcium, so what is liquid?
And actually, I have the percentages. I just didn't bring
Yeah.
them with me.
Okay. Like, is that something that's toxic? What is liquid calcium?
Well, it's basically water based because it's mixed. There's a percentage of calcium, there's magnesium, and then the final thing is just a filler with water.
Right,
So they're spraying down like 0.2 of a gallon. The cap is actually more. So when they spray it the first time and grind it back in, I forget the percentage, but it's very little. Because the idea of that is they try to get it throughout the whole street edge
It helps
to
the
edge.
binding.
sure,
Yeah.
yep,
Especially in concrete.
right,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
still not actually answering any of my questions
Yeah.
that I had about it.
It like cleans it.
Right.
It like
It's
cleans
not-
it and makes
No,
it
no,
stick
no, I
better.
don't need to know what it
Right.
does, I need to know
Yeah.
what it is.
Um.
Is it toxic? Should we be worried about overspray in the streams? That's truly my question.
They actually use it as a de-icing agent as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Is
So
it
they-
the same stuff they use in the winter?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I think they color that one.
That is way
Yeah.
helpful.
So we actually probably put down less in the earth than what the state puts down when they treat the highways.
Right, okay. That makes
But
me
I
feel
will
way better
definitely-
about it.
I can include that on the paper too if you want, the percentages that they're gonna be using.
Sure,
Um,
it's not gonna hurt.
and actually what's in the whole load, actually, the calcium, the magnesium, the water.
Right.
So that we have all that with it.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. Sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah, I just wanted to mention something about Fall Earth Day.
All right.
Okay, well, yeah.
How do I go about like doing the whole abutters list and things like that? Is that something I get from Eloise?
So usually you get it from the assessors.
Okay.
I would, I think Margaret's gonna be available for questions in another week or so, right?
I hope so.
I think, I know, we're all like, actually June helped me out tremendously today, but yeah. So, I'm not sure if abutters need to be notified because it's a municipal project of this length.
Okay.
Would you, from your experience, have any knowledge of?
When in doubt, hearing it out.
Right,
Yeah, we usually.
yeah.
Right, so you're saying certified mailings to,
Would it just be the abutters though, adjacent to the stream, or would it be the
Right.
whole?
No, it doesn't have to do the whole
Yeah.
road.
Okay, so we
Right.
can, so it should be fairly isolated then.
So a few years ago, they did part of Linden Street, they stopped just before my driveway, right? I don't recall getting a notice.
right,
would
I mean,
And you have a crossing below your house, right out in front of your house.
yeah,
I do, yeah, right at the end of the driveway there, right?
Mm.
There's a culvert that comes across the road,
yep.
Yep.
right? So I don't recall getting any I think what they did is they put up signs and stuff that, on the road saying, the dates that you were planning on doing it, right?
Yeah,
And then they
that
did
will have to
Linden
do anyway.
Street, just starting at the end of my driveway, and they did Barnes Road the same day. So to get to the center of town, I had to go into Boylston and back out again.
Oh my gosh.
I had to go Mile Hill Road, come back Route 70.
Oh, jeez.
So we'll see,
That only
we'll
lasted-
see about the abutter notification. 2 weeks prior to the hearing,
Mhm.
we'll need to get a posting in the Clinton item.
Okay.
And we can help you write that. And then that way it'll be posted
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see if we can get some solid information
Right,
about.
yeah, they put signs at the bottom of Linden Street, in the town, and I think they put one up like Barnes Road too.
Yeah.
Right,
Oh, yeah,
But-
that's right too, because you got the water hole on the farm, the horse farm, then you've got the crossing by the town line, and then you've got that, railroad, so there's 3 areas that are gonna be affected, what?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I think the one up
So-
the
Just
grade
the
is
thing
always
about the
running.
notification, we run into some issues because, well, Clinton item always was, they publish on a Friday.
Right.
Okay? So you have to have 3 days preceding that to notify them that it's gonna be in the paper. And that Friday has to be a minimum of 2 weeks,
Prior
from
to the
time of
meeting,
the hearing.
right.
But we used to use the Telegram and Gazette as sort of a backup because you could call them one day and they'd put it in the next. They don't do that anymore. They want 3 days lead time too.
Is there a certain
Right, so
paper I
really
should
you
do it
should,
through?
you should plan on 3 weeks, I think is
Yeah.
really what Lynn's saying. Right, because of, so you let them know, you know, on Monday, they put it in the paper on Friday, and that Friday has to be at least 2 weeks before the hearing date. So it really ends up being 3 weeks.
And should that be with the Telegram or the,
The item's
local
fine,
one?
yep.
And cheaper.
And cheaper.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Right.
I think that was the only question I had,
All right.
I think.
And if you have any other questions in the meantime,
What
And
date
ma-
of next month does the first Wednesday fall on?
the
See how
4th,
many
I think?
days he's got. So this
Sounds
is
about right.
the,
3rd.
I-
The
the
I
third.
think I think there's only 2 weeks left in the month, this month, right?
what's that for?
I think there's only like 2 weeks left in this month.
Yeah, like a week and a half.
Right,
Yeah.
so,
Winter's gonna be here soon.
Can we have a special hearing cause you wanna get this stuff done in August, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. I was
If you
hoping
wait
to
until
have
our
it done
second
before school,
hearing,
but-
you know, you're up into
Oh,
the,
yeah, school.
you're up in the 20th of August or something.
well, it's the
Yeah.
17th.
Yeah.
Our second meeting is the 17th of August, which means that you would have to get your posting into the newspaper by August 1st. To be published by the 5th. Oh, actually, no,
More like
that's only a
29th.
week and a half.
Yeah,
Yeah, so July 25th, which is next Monday. So that's not,
So,
that's for a hearing on the 17th.
well, it just has to be posted by August 3rd, right? 2 weeks
It has to be in the newspaper by August 3rd,
So it would
which
have to be
means
in by the
It'd be the
29th?
Friday.
it
before.
needs to be printed on the 29th, which
Okay.
means he needs to get it to them
Okay.
by Monday,
Yeah,
which is next Monday.
okay.
That's crazy how that works.
Now
Next Monday.
you know what you're doing tomorrow, huh?
Well,
I got a couple hours left. and
Yeah.
then I
And the night is young.
think if I bang that out.
Yeah, no
Okay.
biggie.
okay, well, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Mm.
But we can definitely put you on for August 17th.
Okay.
Well, the forms that he brought in, they're pretty well filled out, I didn't look at them.
We didn't
It's
give
just got a
Wayne a
little
time.
couple things to add.
Just,
Wayne is
so,
July, nope, August.
August 17th,
Fred's gonna be August 17th.
yeah, what time?
We can do 7:30, get you in at least.
He can be first this time.
Yep.
Nice.
yeah. Just finished filling them out and, probably is the whole darn road almost, but, you know, look at the map and the property owners, Fred, where they are, and, I mean, like, this one here, obviously, this property owner, this one, and this one,
Yeah,
and this one, so that takes care of that end of it.
and then it's just,
Then the other ones, does he have to go into Bolton?
I think the nearest one in the Bolton is on the left-hand side.
So,
100 feet.
Right, is there a house on this property right here?
No,
Okay.
well, there is, it might be their property, but I think the house is like way up here.
yeah, those are the folks that wanted to build a road in here and develop the rest of that back in there, so they do have to be notified,
Okay.
and Dennis,
Yep.
Yep.
I think,
And then Great Oak.
yeah.
And would the one for the farm, would that go to the house next door, like the owner of the horse farm?
Yes, whoever, so you go to the assessor's office and they've got the owner of record and
Okay.
their address.
Okay.
So that's like the legal
Place to send
place
it.
to
Put a
send it,
check on
exactly.
these places, take it to the assessors and tell them you want the mailing addresses for that, and they'll give it to you, Fred.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's sent certified?
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic.
It's fun, huh?
Oh, I love this.
You're doing a good, Fred likes to work, he doesn't like this messing around.
I know,
He's a-
I know.
he's a
Everybody
doer.
loves paper.
He's a doer.
Leanne can probably help you out too if you have any questions.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get through it,
Yes, we will.
one way or another.
And I thank you for coming in. I think
Oh, well, yeah, 'cause
this is
I
the
blew it up
first
the first time.
time, no, I think this is the first time we've had the highway department come in
Really?
to file an NOI.
Yeah, because the last time we got like that emergency culvert replacement.
Yep.
Is that Gates Pond Road?
Yep.
That was Gates Pond Road, yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, you're right, I don't remember any.
Yeah, and the fire department came in once when they wanted to clean out their fire
Water.
holes.
I
Which
was
was-
in for the fire department for a couple times. 'cause
Oh,
we
you
were
came
looking
Right.
in
into
for that,
Yep,
yeah, I
yep.
remember.
But I just appreciate it very much.
That's what we're here for.
That's all right.
You
Yeah.
gotta
Thanks,
do what you
Fred.
gotta do.
Yeah, you know, and we'll work with you and help you out and all that, but, like I said, I just appreciate you coming in, so
I'm
thank
sure
you.
we'll have more of these meetings, 'cause,
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
there's more work to be done.
Always.
Yeah.
All right, well, I appreciate you meeting me
All
for the
right.
second time.
No problem.
Okay,
Second
just,
time's always a challenge.
I
Oh, sorry,
talked
Bob.
to Chief Shatner last week,
Mhm.
and he's all for doing a fall cleanup, focusing on Central Street from Hudson to the center of town.
Mhm.
And he he will provide police escort. He suggested the beginning of August, but we talked it over and we thought
October.
maybe
You-
October, right, I'm sorry, October. The second or third week of August would be better, cause the grass would be dying off more.
Yeah.
So the highway department would be willing to help out like they did in the spring.
Well, most likely, we got some fresh
Yeah,
guys.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
better
Yeah,
way to
actually, I
break
think
'em
you're
in.
the one who suggested it.
Yeah.
Tell them,
Right
oh
back in
no,
the
this
spring."
is tradition.
Yeah.
We've always done this.
Right.
Yeah. What else you gonna do? Sit home?
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Go pick up some
All
trash.
right.
You know, they need their volunteer time to do it.
One other thing that just, you can come into my mind, we talked to Peg about this too, but, you know, you have the equipment. Our fields and a lot of brush growing along, if we hired on a Saturday, one of you, I think you're probably overloaded, Fred, so I'm not saying take your flailer and clean up our fields, like the
Yeah.
fields up on the old, up on Linden Street, not Linden Street, but, Willow Road, Boylston Road.
Hmm.
You know, everything is growing in it, it's a terrible mess, and down across from the Tyler Farm, stuff like that. Would it be possible to hire one of your guys on a Saturday at some time when they wouldn't be taken away from the work you got to do something like that? Is that, you know
I'd
anything
have
about
to,
that?
I'd have to offer it up to them. I can't force them.
No, but I
to do
mean,
it.
right, but if one of them would,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, if they're willing to come in and work on overtime, yeah. It's just who's gonna pay their overtime.
what
You
would the
know?
rate be?
Well, it all depends who you have do it. Right now, only Jim and I are licensed to run that machine.
Oh, is that right? Oh.
Yeah.
So we're talking big bucks.
Oh, yeah, Jim is like $50 an hour,
Oh.
and I
Not
don't
straight
get paid
time?
overtime. I would have to volunteer my time.
We got our guy.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to have a license to run that darn thing? What if
Yeah.
you're not on the road?
It's still the same thing, cause even if you own a piece of equipment and
Yeah.
it's on your property, who is it?
So you gotta be so in other words, I couldn't run my big shipper that I had, the booms and, you know, loaders and on my own, my bulldozer, that when I had a dozer, I had to have a license to run on my,
Yeah, Mikey Sawyer,
Oh,
him and Charlie, they were working right up on Jane's property, and one of the inspectors went by and asked for their license. They didn't have one, so they went and they got one.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
but you know what's weird? You could go to like Nations Rent and say, I want that mini excavator for a week. all you gotta do, I think, is fill out a paper or watch like the short video, and then,
So they'll give you the
Right.
temp license, yeah.
yeah, here you go.
Yep.
It's like,
Robinson's does it too.
yeah, so that's why you
What have
see
you
on
volunteered to do
contractors.
for us this year?
I don't
Sit
know if
right
I'm a-
there.
Yeah, I don't have that license. I can't do that.
Yeah, so we're hoping actually Tommy, our newest hire, he
Yeah.
has a hydraulic license, but just
Okay.
for the mower. He
Oh,
still
yeah.
has to, the loader, he's gotta get it
Yeah.
for the
Oh,
mower.
for heaven's sakes, huh? Alright,
And it's crazy because, we don't need it for forks on the loader, it's an
Right.
attachment. But yet, because the boom mower lifts over 10 feet,
oh,
well, the machine itself with forks lifts over 10
Yeah.
feet, but that's part of
yeah,
the loader license,
Right.
hmm,
so
Yep.
it's incredible.
Okay.
Nothing is ever easy.
Lawyers and insurance companies.
Exactly. I had to
Making the
tell,
big bucks.
That's why everything's so expensive.
Yep.
Yep. And what the worst part, so the section 4 was always one thing. So if you had 4 A, you could run, pump trucks, you could run derricks, you could run all this stuff. A few years ago, they broke that all down. So now each one under 4 is its own class. 4G is the
it's
mower.
a way to raise money.
Yep.
That's exactly what it is. And now to recertify to get your license back, you have to take Con Ed hours for each thing that
For
you
each,
have.
yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, at $50 a whack, it adds up quick.
Sure. Yep.
But it's a way that they get money.
Does that keep people from, working for highway departments and stuff?
Keeps them from getting hired if they don't have it.
Yeah, our big thing this round was the CDL. Everything changed with the CDL. You now have to go through an accredited school to be trained. You can't just train them in the garage like we had. It depends where you go. Nets has it for like $4,500. We've seen it as cheap as just over $2,000, $2,800, which the town doesn't pay for. We'll reimburse a license reimbursement, but we don't pay to send anyone to school for it.
Right.
So all our new job postings, it's like, you will have a CDL. If you don't have a CDL, you're not considered.
Right.
The hydraulic license, if you come with anything, you can get that easy enough because they test at Devon's and they're cheaper.
Right.
So as long as you got a CDL, I'll hire you. If you
Right.
got common sense, I'll hire you.
Right.
If you're willing to learn, I'll hire you.
Right.
Um,
But all 3 of those, you need all 3 of those.
Yeah.
2 out of 3.
Yeah.
2 out of 3.
yeah, I'd be happy with the common sense and the CDL.
Right, well.
Everything else will work for it. But yeah, it's tough now trying to find people.
It's unbelievable.
Yep.
I mean, if places, we ate at a restaurant up in North Conway, and we waited 45 minutes to get through, they can't hire help.
Yeah.
It's just,
Well, one of the last postings we had, there were 15 people put in for it. So I started making phone calls. No one was returning my calls. So I gave them one last ditch effort after the 3rd call. If I don't hear from you, I'm going to assume you're not interested.
Right.
So I was frustrated one day, so I sent Mary an email and I was like, what's up with all these people? And that's when I learned the unemployment game.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
You
Oh,
have
yeah.
to show that you're actively seeking jobs to keep your benefits.
Right.
Doesn't mean you have to take one.
Right.
I'm like, don't waste my time.
Right. Even worse, what a lot of people are doing is they go to the interview, they accept the
Yeah.
job, and then they don't show up for the first day.
Yeah.
We just had one kid like that. He jumped through hoops, did all the paperwork,
I don't
everything was done.
understand.
And then tells me he don't want the job.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for wasting my time.
Right.
24-year-old kid. And that was me chasing him down. I was like, Chris, what's the deal?
What would you have paid them an hour?
That one was coming in at 24 something.
24 something an hour.
And that's the start. And then it
And
would
they're
have bumped
better
up
off being on that workman's comp than,
unemployment.
unemployment than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get bonuses too.
They don't.
I don't know if, still?
Yeah,
Bonuses.
not to rile you up.
Yeah, right, well, wait a minute.
We don't have all night for this.
we gotta know.
Wait,
It's too hot.
Right.
It's
too hot. All right,
Let's,
sorry.
let's close the meeting.
Let's
Yeah.
close the meeting.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Someone make a motion.
I make a motion to close the meeting on Wednesday, July 20th.
8:50.
I
Oh,
second.
8:50.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.